What's up? It's me. If you're tuning in hoping for somebody else, that's not how the internet works. Sorry. Using Declaration Grooming Damon, I think, which is weird. I just standing at my plethora of soaps and decided I haven't used Declaration Grooming or what used to be L&L Grooming, I believe, for some time. And I thought, well, I'm going to use one from that pile. The big piles tend to be in the back against the wall, so they don't get used quite as much because you got to get back there and go through them. It's supposed to be really warm today, and as I was going through them, I was thinking, well, that wasn't smart. Declaration Grooming isn't necessarily known for their gentle, warm scents. I don't even know if I've used this one before. You wouldn't think of it by the front, but I just think of it as a very actually soft. I was thinking aquatic. I looked it up and it said like oak and moss and stuff, but its job is to be an inoffensive scent. I'd say that's true. I'm using the Cadre's, I think this is the 2nd anniversary brush. Okay, blue, just so I get a pretty picture when I photographed it with my soap to post on Shave of the Day. The brush sucks though. I think they know this. No surprise. No new news to anybody else on the cutter. The bristles are just super stiff. That's why it doesn't get much use. But you know what? It puts it on the lather just the same. And goes to show the brush is not going to affect the end result of the shave, which makes you feel silly for buying a 300, 400. Some brushes are like what? Upwards of $500 and stuff like that. The lather is still, it's all part of the experience, boys. All part of the experience. I was in the shower thinking, what would I talk about during the shave, and just kept thinking of all sorts of different unrelated topics. I need a personal assistant who just stands outside the shower that can take notes for me. I don't know if that's legal or not, or maybe we'll skip that idea. Maybe we'll put it out of your mind. The youngest passed her permit test just a couple days ago. To take it easy, we're not going to get a cut here today. There we go. All right. So taking her out, practicing for the first time today. And the way it works in California, if you're under a certain age, I don't know what it is, probably I think 18, you have to take an online course, like safety, just knowledge course, before you take the test. Which seems a little odd to me. Isn't that what the test is for? To show that you've learned what you need to know? Unless they had just tons of people showing up and just failing, just like constantly taking up their time. And maybe they're like, all right, we got to force these Neanderthals to study a little bit before they come take their test. But anyway, you do that. And then to get your actual license, to qualify for taking the test, you have to have so many hours behind the wheel with a certified instructor. So you have to pay for an instructor. Plus, however many hours above that. But of course, to my knowledge, they don't check. It's like except for your the professional instructor, they have to sign off on a paper. So you got to do that. But it's something like I don't know. It's not a ton, 8 hours or something like that. I think it's like 4 lessons or maybe 5 lessons in total. Each one 2 hours. But the weird thing is that technically the very first lesson they're supposed to have on the road has to be with this driving instructor. Well, and I guess when I get to my point, it's not going to be on the road, but we kind of didn't realize that with the first one. And I heralded back to my days of a motorcycle safety class, back when you had to take one of those up in Oregon in order to take your, what was it? I think if you passed the safety course, then you didn't have to do the driving portion at the DMV or something like that. Plus, it's just a good idea. So anyway, the way they started that motorcycle training after the classroom stuff is that you would learn how to panic stop, and even learn how to, they taught you how to block up your back brake, showing you that, hey, you're not going to fall over if you slam on that brake as hard as you can. You know, because in a motorcycle, you're doing everything all at once in a panic stop. With the one brake, pull in the clutch, stomp on the other brake with your foot, and then put your foot down to catch the motorcycle when you stop, right? So that's my technique. That's not my motorcycle riding technique. I just don't just slam on the brakes for no reason, just to test that. For driving lessons, I go to a parking lot, and you know, because it's big enough that they can kind of do ovals without having to stay in a lane or anything, and work on kind of the panic stop. That don't, you know, that should be a lot of times your immediate reaction if something's going bad. You know, initially when they're just on the city streets and stuff like that, here's how you don't slam your foot on the gas. You hit the brake. Get used to hitting the brake. You're okay. You can hit the brake a little harder. It might be uncomfortable, but nothing's going to happen to the car. So that's what we do. We get used to starting, stopping, starting, hard stops, and then the two big things for me is, you know, the car going where you want it to go, not just like, oh, I turned the wheel and I thought I was going to go here and I went here and hit something. Yeah, take responsibility, right? The car goes where you tell it to go. So we do then up and down the aisles where they have to do like 90-degree corners, pretend like a car is coming and you have to turn around the car. So we get that done, and then work on pulling into parking spaces to get awareness of half the size of your car and where it is and stuff. And then we're going to go out on the road. So I think it's a little crazy that, so with our oldest did that and then started doing around the road before we signed up for the professional lessons. So technically what her first lesson for the state of California would have been is getting into this guy's car that she was not familiar with right outside of our house and driving away on city streets. And it's like, that doesn't seem safe at all. So anyway, so they get some safety practice first. Then we hit the streets. You know, slow city streets, busier city streets with stoplights, all that kind of, in bigger intersections, and then before you get on the highway, stuff like that. So we're hitting the parking lot for the first lesson today, which I know is the most boring one, right? We're going in circles, going in circles. Anyway, what else? Oh yeah, Cadre boys. Oh, so first of all, Zoom call today. KJ's up for a stunt shave. I mentioned on my 2 videos ago that it's tough with him. Like, there's almost nothing that's a stunt shave. This dude has done, like, I know he's done outside many times. He did once in a canoe. Like, he set up his camera. He was in a canoe shaving with this stuff. He's done it blindfolded. speed shave. Any bad blade that is on a stunt shave pass around. I don't know what else he's done. I mentioned like a shaving without a bottom plate, all this stuff. So it's like, what kind of maxed out for this guy? You know, it's somebody else like Steven, like I think he's anti-stunt shave, I believe. But if you were to volunteer, don't worry, we'll tone it down, brother. You know, we're not gonna send you in the KJ deep end and make you not want to be part of the cadre anymore. Maybe just a little bit of, you know, one of the good go-tos is go grab your wife's razor from the shower that she shaves your legs with and use that one. Just because it's juvenilely humorous to the rest of us. That's why. But I was gonna say, so the cadre owners, I mentioned that this brush was less than optimal. This is one of the anniversary brushes. And then that dang Saponicidio Veracino or whatever, they did a custom brush for the cadre, which was the coolest idea in the world. And nothing wrong with the cadre owner, not their fault at all. But the guys at SV just kind of, I don't know, what do you want? They didn't drop the ball. They screwed the pooch. They did an awful job on that brush. But I think it was it the first anniversary brush was done by Sorrentino, Mr. Eric. And while it was green, so green's not my color, the brush itself is beautiful. And then he did the very first brush for the cadre, the legacy brush, which I've shown it before, but it's beautiful. That's Eric Sorrentino's work there. I think, are you listening? Here's my idea, cadre boys. Sorrentino is the exclusive provider of cadre anniversary brushes. Solves the problem right there. I know. The problem is Mr. Sorrentino is very busy with work and doing some custom brush work. And the cadre has grown in size, so instead of, you know, maybe 20, 25, 30 brushes, I don't even know how many he would have to do for folks that wanted a custom Sorrentino. Right, that would be the thing. The design would have to be one that he could easily mass produce, yet remain to his standards. Anyway, that's my idea. Sorrentino exclusive. The cadre. Sign a contract. Make it so. There we go. So that's what's on board with me today. Don't have to work Monday, so that's beautiful. 3-day weekend. I'm taking Friday off. Haven't had a day off for some time, and I'm maxed out on my time off. So got to slip them in here now and again, just like we slip into Nivea 2-in-1 with the pa-pa. This pa-pa brought to you by Brady's Barbershop, the sweetest smelling barbershop in Tucson. Yeah, every time I say that, I'm like, when are we going to get up to Tucson? I told you, it's supposed to be, my wife has friends in Arizona now, so she's like, we're going. But they got a huge gym show, which I don't need any gyms, but that sounds cool to me. So, I mean, what else is there in there? You have heat, cactuses, scorpion, and this gym show. So, might as well schedule it around the one positive of those four. I have to keep that in mind. Watch it on the calendar or something. Anyway, that's why I say, every time I say that, I keep thinking, when am I ever going to get there? When am I going to lay back and say, Dave, you're doing it wrong? Yeah, but we have to video that one. Although we'd have to see. I'm curious if we could keep it PG enough for YouTube. I mean, he'd have to keep his hands, no touchy-feely, Dave. We're gonna try to make it good for YouTube. What are we doing here? Just yapping now. Oh, well, what time are we at? 15 minutes? We can do a little talk. I've been looking at coffee makers, and Barbara Day was laughing, because I'm like, I'm not gonna buy a watch. And then I'm like, who's ever had one of those automatic espresso machine. Forget the watch. I'm gonna buy a multi-$1,000. But I was just thinking that we've got, so I do my pour overs at home exclusively now. But I wouldn't mind a cappuccino or whatever, ano, whatever's, that's a mixture of coffee and foam of some dairy reproduction type of thing. So we have a Nespresso maker, and that coffee sucks. I mean, it's like using a Keurig if you actually for a cup of coffee, which, if all you want is a cup of coffee, and you don't care if it tastes like cardboard, then perfect for you. I feel the same way kind of about Nespresso with espresso. So about maybe once a year I get the hankering in the evening just for a cup of something, and have my wife make me one, and I remember why I don't. Just like when I break down and maybe try a Keurig, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I'd rather just have water, thank you. So I was looking for, I thought it'd be cool to get one of those, the machine you just you keep the beans on top, a thing full of water, and the ones I want have the automatic frother thing, right? So to be honest, my wife drinks Nespresso during the week when I'm not here. So it'd have to be something she's going to use. So she wouldn't use a normal espresso machine where you're grinding the beans right beforehand, and then you have that. Have you guys, if you've never seen a video in the right way to make espresso at home, it's a thing. And each little step of the process, of course, is cha-ching. So you got this grinder that you want super high end, so you get fine and consistent grounds, and they go in a thing, and then you get a thing that looks like those little metal that they massage your head, a very tiny version of that. You put it in there, or with little needles or something, to make sure there's no clumps, and then you have a thing to press it down. And of course, each one of those things you could probably get for $10. But if you want to do right? I mean, you listen to these guys and they're like, this is $50, and this is, and then you put it in your machine, which, if you have a cheaper one with only one boiler, you're either making your espresso or frothing your milk. You can't do both at the same time. And then you got your milk thing out and you're heating it up. Anyway, there's no way in the world my wife would do that. And I don't even think I would. When I was thinking about the process and the cleanup and stuff, I'm like, for one cup, I mean, if you were into it, making this stuff all the time, what is it? The shay's over. I'm just, man, I miss Gear Noir. Speaking of, maybe when we just did, in honor, we do Tête Noire by Le Labo. So anyway, I just thought it'd be nice to have one of those machines that you can pull the milk canister out of the fridge, slide it in, hit the start button, and then bingo, it grinds the stuff you've programmed it, what drink you want. It automatically grinds it, puts it in the machine, either makes the espresso or the foam at first, and whatever, layers it, you're done. Then you hit the button to squirt some steam through the milk tube, auto cleans that out, put it in the fridge, you're done. Perfect. Been looking at those, that'd be fun. Question is, if I can talk my wife into it. I think she loves the idea of having one, it's just buying it that's the issue. Anyway, there we go. I could go on about that for a while, but shave's done. See you on the forums.